Hello and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be taking a walkthrough of UnderPass, which is a Linux-based lab by Hack the Box. This lab contains a bit of information disclosure within an SNMP service utilising default community strings, so we can use this to discover a bit of information about the server that's running in the back end. A bit more digging around in Google and some documentation, and we can find some default credentials for the service, which we can use to log in and gain a foothold. We can then escalate that foothold to root by exploiting a weakness in sudo privileges and gain the root flag. So, cool, let's just start with a bit of standard enumeration. So we'll kick it off with an nmap scan. I've already done this in advance just to save a bit of time. So we'll have a wee look at the TCP first. Cool. So we can see that port 22 is open, standard, and we have an Apache server running on port 80. So let's go and take a look at what's running on this server. So we can do that. Have a look. Cool. So we can see we've got a default Apache 2 page here. Nothing really jumping out. Can have a wee look at the page source. Got some comments up here. Nothing really of interest. Nothing else really jumping out. We could do some directory busting using something like GoBuster, dirbuster, or Fuff to try and enumerate some hidden directories. But we know we've got a UDP scan as well. So let's take a look at that before we dive down any rabbit holes. So let's have a wee... Cool. So we can see we've got a couple of things here. We've got some open filtered ports with a radius service, but we've also got port 161 open SNMP. So we can take a look at that and do a bit of enumeration around this service and see if there's anything interesting. So we can actually we can use a tool called Metasploit to have a look and see within that SNMP service to see if there's anything interesting. So let's just boot this up now. Metasploit is a really, really powerful tool, and to be honest, we won't even really scratch the surface of its capabilities today. Definitely one to dive deeper into, maybe one for a future video. But today we're going to be utilising the SNMP scanner bit on Metasploit. So we can use scanner, SNMP, and then SNMP underscore login. That should... Happy days. Cool. So if we type the options command, we can see it spits out a table here with some settings on it. And we can see up the top it's got required, and then it's got yes and no depending on what settings are required to be set for the tool to run. So we can see here our host isn't set. It's blank here, but it's required. So let's set that. So our host is actually our target host, which is the victim here. So we can just copy our IP here and go set our hosts to our IP, a target IP. Everything else is set. We don't need a password, and the R port is already set because it defaults to the SNMP default port, which is 161. So we should be able to just run this now. Cool. And we can see here that we've got a couple of things back. So got a green flag here saying login successful using the public default community string, which means that we can use the public default community string in order to access some information within the service. So we'll come out of Metasploit here, and we'll use a tool called SNMP walk. I'm not sure if it's, yeah, so it's installed default in Kali. So let's have a look at some flags here. Cool, so we've got some different flags here. So we want to run the version specifies SNMP version to use. This could be useful. We'll just pass it without, but we may need to specify it. But we'll definitely need the C for the community string, and then we'll need the IP address as well. So let's just try SNMP walk. Excuse the typos. I have a new keyboard, and I'm still getting used to it. I'm hitting keys left, right, and center. So C, and then the community string was public, and then our IP address. Okay, so we need, let's just do v1. Cool, so we've got some interesting stuff come back here. So we can see here some information. So we've got Steve at underpass.hackthebox, and then we've got underpass.hackthebox is the only Dallo Radius server in the basin. Nevada, USA, but not Vegas. So let's take a note of that. So we'll take a note of this. Could be interesting because we've just uncovered a user here. Now, up until doing this box, I was unfamiliar with Dallo Radius. So we've done a bit of Googling and found out a bit about the servers. So let's have a quick look. So this is Dallo Radius is an advanced radius web platform aimed at managing hotspots and general purpose ISP deployments. Cool. So got a GitHub page here. Shows us how to install it. User management. Okay, so seems to be a web page that's running. This could be interesting. Okay, so let's have a look. Got a YouTube video as well, that could be interesting. Okay, so using Dallo Radius as a web interface for free Radius server. So you can see. Okay, so to add a user, log into a manager account, http:/IP address, and Dallo Radius app operators. Okay, so I wonder. Let's have a. See. Oh, happy days. So we've actually discovered a login page here. Cool. Nice. So I don't know, let's try like admin, like user admin, or like admin password. No, doesn't seem to be any credentials for anything in this. What we could do is we could try, because we've got a user called Steve. So we could try Steve. Just say Steve admin, Steve password. We could actually set up a bot intruder attack here against the user Steve and fire some well-known passwords at the username. But let's go and see if there's any default credentials for Dallo Radius. Default credentials. Have a look. Default creds for accessing the Dallo Radius web interface are administrator Radius. Okay, so let's Radius. Cool. We've got access. Awesome. So let's have a wee nosy about. That could be interesting. Let's fire this down here. SVC Mosh. So let's say SVC Mosh user. Now this looks like a password hash. So let's do. Is this built into Kali? Should be. Yeah. Could be anything here. So we need to find out what looks like an MD5 hash. So let's I mean, it does say it could be an MD5 hash, but it also says it could be a lot of other things as well. Let's try running Hashcat against it as assuming it's an MD5. So if we run, if we pipe it out to, so we'll just go nano hash.txt, paste it in, come out here, and then we can do hashcat -h, and we can see all the different flags for Hashcat, and we can see the different flags to set for the different hashes. So what we can do is we can just go hashcat for MD5, and we can have a look. Let's have a look and see. MD5 hash mode is 0. So we can see here, MD5 example. So that kind of looks similar to what we've got. Cool. So let's run hashcat now then. We can do hashcat -mode 0 -a0, and then pipe the output to, we'll just do found.txt, and we'll use RockU as standard. Okay. The build of Kali, so I need to unpack RockU. So let's cd word lists. So if you've got this within your Kali, you can unzip it. It's been ages since I think it's just on Kali if you just use so now we've got RockU.txt because we just unzipped it. So you just use gunzip RockU.txt.gz. Cool. So now we can run, if we just go back to home, parallels, and then UnderPass, we can see the hash.txt. So let's try and run, we'll do hashcat -mode 0 -a0, and then -o for the output to found.txt, and we'll use the hash.txt, and then we'll use user share word lists RockU.txt, and that should just run, crack our hash, hopefully, and give us the password for logging in. So we can see after some time here, the hashcat has cracked the hash. So we can now have a look at that in our found. So if we do cat found.txt, and we can see it's underwater friends. So let's try an SSH to SVC Mosh at our IP. Oh, that's our hash. I've not copied I think it's 10.10.11.48, I think. Yes. And then we'll do underwater friends. There we go. We've got user. So ls, we can see we've got user.txt. Happy days. So we now have our user flag. So in order to gain root, we can have a little, so we do sudo -l to see what commands svcmosh can run as root. So we can see user svcmosh may run the following commands on localhost. All no passwords, user bin mosh server. So we can have a look and see if we've got sort of mosh server or MOS. So we've got mosh server privesk. Have a look and see what we can find. We've got a few things. We've got GitHub here. When mosh server can run without a password, so let's have a look here. Binary privesk, exploiting privesk using path injection. We've got a few different things here. Privesk when spice ports, when writable, beacon run. There's quite a few things in here actually. So let's try and find where we were. If we do mosh can run without password. So here we go. So let's have a look and see what we can do. It says when mosh server can run without password. If we run this, let's try that. Yes. I'm a root. So we can see we can't so we'll just cat the root.txt and we can see the root flag here. So we exit this and we go back to svcmosh. So the reason we can do this is because we can actually run this server as root. So when we can run this as root, this executes the server under sudo, the user binary, user/bin/mosh server. So runs that as sudo and maps it to localhost, so that when it goes back to localhost, we're then running the mosh server as root. Happy days. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks a lot for watching. This was a really good box. I really enjoyed doing it. Learnt a few new things. Definitely a fair bit of enumeration involved, but definitely a good one to help level up. A good privesk as well. Quite simple, but definitely a bit of enumeration required in order to have a look for the privesk and the service and how it can be used to abuse it to gain a root shell. So yeah, hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks a lot for watching, and I will see you in the next one.